Hello everyone, welcome to Whiskey Wars and to a higher proof bourbon war. As you guys know, I'm firmly getting back into the bourbon scene. I'm really enjoying it at the moment, and I'm predominantly drinking bourbon right now. So because I'm in that mood, I'm filming a lot of bourbons. We have the Knob Creek versus the Wild Turkey 101. So both these whiskies are about 50%. The Knob Creek is exactly 50%. And the Wild Turkey 101 being 50.5%. So similar proof, high proof. Let's see what the differences are and what the best one is. So the Knob Creek used to be a 9-year age statement. They couldn't guarantee that anymore, probably to fulfill demand. So it's probably a little bit younger than 9 years. That's your ballpark figure really. It's probably getting close to that 9 years. And the 101 is actually roughly meant to be between 6 and 8 years. So a little bit younger, but still older than a lot of bourbon whiskies, that's for sure. Okay, let's get them poured out. Now, one thing that I don't like about the Knob Creek, but maybe you're not bothered, but it does annoy me slightly, is the cork is not a natural cork. And I always find it hard to put back in. I'd like it to be a more natural cork, that's for sure. Okay, let's get straight into the nose. And before we do actually though, if you guys are excited for the bourbon content or you enjoy the bourbon content, please do leave a like rating on the video. And don't forget to click that subscribe button as well. That really helps the channel to grow. As I've said, we're really trying to hit 1,000 subscribers for the summer. So that would be amazing if we can reach that. It'd be greatly appreciated. So thank you. All right, let's get into the nose. Very sweet on the nose actually. It's a good syrupy sweetness actually on this nose. I get orange peel, orange juice, but a lot of maple syrup. I get some spiciness in here as well, some cinnamon, but also some nutmeg and some clove. But a real nuttiness for me, and the nuttiness defines this whiskey for me. I get peanuts on the nose of this whiskey. So you're getting a lovely toffee sauced, caramelized maple syrup, peanuts brittle with some spices. On the top, just a little bit of orange, adding a bit of citrus and a bit of life to it. And a bit of freshness as well, which it needs. But actually, as I go back in again, that nuts note is getting ever stronger, and it's really blending. It's quite a dry nut, and it's blending with a quite dry oak as well, which I think is important because of that maple syrup note. Dryness, a bitter dryness with that sweetness. In fact, I'm getting a real balance to that sweetness now. That was just an initial blast, but it's almost like a bready, like a salted buttered toast. Yeah, a salted buttered toast. And that orange is less strong now with the nuts and the oak. And so is that maple syrup. Wow, that's really changed since I've got in. It's a lot more dry and bitter now than it was at the start. Interesting, though, that maple syrup and orange note is now a background act. And that is really quite spicy. Maybe a touch of ginger in there as well. That is nice. So dry nuts, oak, a little bit of salted butter on toast, giving it a bit of a bready, almost oaty, a little bit salty, butteriness. But the maple syrup and the orange are still there as well. Very nice. Okay, on to the Wild Turkey. Actually, the more sweet of the two. The Wild Turkey's definitely getting more sweet, but I think it's a little bit more spicy as well. It's a bit lighter too. I would say a little bit of a citrus now, and I would say maybe a touch of lemon. It's more citrusy, the Wild Turkey, than the Knob Creek. But still that bready note, but also a little bit of cracked black pepper on the Wild Turkey. Really interesting. It's a little bit more bready, a little bit more peppery, spicy, but also citrusy. I'm getting a little bit less oak on the Wild Turkey than what I get on the Knob Creek. And I'd say a little bit more caramel and toffee on the Wild Turkey, whereas the Knob Creek gave me a bit more of that maple syrup. And actually, just side by side in the two on the nose, the Wild Turkey gives me a little bit more of that pepper, and that adds to a bit more oomph on the nose and can sting the nose a little bit more. Okay, let's get stuck into the taste. Whew. Very nice. Dry nuts and oak. But that orange sweetness, I just love orange in a whiskey. I get that, but I also get maple syrup. That syrupiness is coming through, and it's running through the dryness of the oak and the nuts. Just a hint of something. It almost reminded me a little bit of like a faint cigar. Not strong, really not strong, but something very faint. Just a faint hint of tobacco on the Knob Creek on the taste. I didn't get it on the nose. And it adds a touch of an earthiness to the whiskey. But I'm still getting that maple syrup and orange peel. And that adds a little bit of life. The maple syrup, the sweetness, the orange peel, a little bit of a citrus pop, a little bit of life to it. So it's really quite a balanced whiskey. I'm getting earthy tobacco notes at the bottom, some syrupy sweetness in the mid, and a little bit of citrus in the top with the orange. Alongside, of course, the nuts, the dry nuts and wood. And also cinnamon spice. Okay, let's compare it to the 101. Yeah, the Wild Turkey comes across sweeter. A little bit sweeter of the two, but I get like a fudge toffee note, which is a little bit different to that maple syrup. I feel like I'm tasting a little bit more rye in the Wild Turkey. A peppered toast, bready, peppery, with that toffee sweetness. I do get a little bit of nut influence with the Wild Turkey, but it's not compared to the Knob Creek. The Knob Creek is going to be stronger in that nut influence. Also the oak influence as well. The Wild Turkey, I'm almost getting a touch of vanilla, which I don't get often. Vanilla, peppered bread and toffee. Yeah. Ooh, that's good. Which one do I prefer? I'll get back to you in a second. Okay, so I have made my mind up on these two whiskies. Let's quickly talk about the price. The Knob Creek is around that £28 mark in the UK. I think good value for money. The Wild Turkey I also think is great value for money. A little bit higher at that £30 mark, but still good value for money. Now, when I bought these two whiskies, I got the Knob Creek for the same price, but I got the Wild Turkey for £23. So a bit cheaper. So perhaps this one will hit an offer in the future. The Knob Creek I rarely see on offer though. That is something to bear in mind. But for the RRP of £28, I think is really good value still. So I'm not going to include price into this because I both think they're worth their price. This comes down to what I prefer. If I'm being totally honest, I think if the Knob Creek, maybe if I'd have had that 9-year age stated Knob Creek, that could have won today. I think they're close. There's elements of the Knob Creek that I really enjoy. For instance, that nuttiness, that extra oakiness, and also that earthiness with the tobacco. I like this whiskey. I think if it was a little bit older, might have won it today. But today, the Wild Turkey 101 reigns supreme. Just what a fantastic whiskey that Wild Turkey is. I mean, it's really good. Okay guys, that concludes my whiskey war for the 50% ABVs. The Knob Creek against the Wild Turkey 101 is the winner today. If you enjoyed this video and you're enjoying my bourbon content, please leave a like rating on the video. And please do click that subscribe button, but also that share button as well. Let's get some more people into the community and really help to grow this channel. And let's really try and hit that 1,000 subscriber mark soon. That'd be amazing. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you all for the next Whiskey War.